Hi and welcome to Leaders Live, hosted by Business Battlefield. With me today is Tania Ellis, who is the CEO of the social business company. Please describe your experience within leadership.
Well, I became a leader by incident and at a very early age. And I didn't have a solid career plan where I had an aim to become a leader, but it just happened that way. And it started when I was in my early 20s, working in a large company that was growing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in a growth setup, then there are a lot of tasks that need to be dealt with. And I'm a doer, and I always look for solutions. So I ended up, when you take action,
Mm-hmm.
then often responsibility comes along. And so I ended up in my first middle management position when I was 22, and at the age of 28, I became the deputy director of a large service company.
250 employees, right?
With 250 service employees.
Wow.
And then I had about 15 middle managers that were referring directly to me.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And would you tell us a little bit about your company now, the social business company, and what you do?
Yeah, so for the past 18 years, I've been running my own business. So I actually, started out as an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
and then became an entrepreneur, and founded my business 18 years ago with a clear mission. It's the same mission today. We want to inspire and help companies create value for both society and the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And we are a lean organization, small team, and I prefer it to be that way, because I know as soon as your organization grows, then your focus is on leadership. And right now, and for the past 18 years, the sustainability agenda is so important and is growing and developing at a rapid pace. So just, working with that, with a focus on that, is the main thing for me today.
And how would you describe your leadership style today? Has it evolved ever since you were the startup when you were 28?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I haven't really thought about it. But I think actually my leadership style is probably the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on, several C's: competence and compassion, care, but also curiosity. So those are the cornerstones, I would say, of my leadership style.
Mm-hmm.
And more concretely, I would say that it's probably the same back when I started out as a leader, and the way that I'm applying my leadership today is very much about listening.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a lot about communication, being clear. And it's also about, integrity, trying to walk the talk, to inspire
Mm-hmm.
and motivate the employees to do their best and find their way in their everyday work.
And building further on this, what does it mean to you to be a responsible leader, and how do you incorporate that into your day-to-day practice?
Well, I think being a responsible leader, first and foremost, is about being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds so easy, and but really that's the most difficult task, because it really requires you to reflect and be aware of what drives you, what values are important for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's probably the only thing that you can really count on, because in this dynamic world that we're running a business in today, everything is changing all the time. So the only thing that you really, really have and that you can really, really trust is that inner core, what you have within yourself. And I believe that's the foundation of responsible leadership, is to have that self-awareness and have a clear idea of what is it that I want to do in my work life, how do I want to contribute? If you have a clear picture of that, it also makes it easier for you to navigate in all these everyday situations where you have to be this chaos pilot, and also to be able to communicate to the team that you are part of. Why are we doing this, and what do we want to get out of it? So it really starts with yourself, which is so easy to say. I'm 52 now. I'm turning 52. And if you asked me back when I was 22, what do you want to do with your life, and what is your ambition, and what kind of difference do you want to make? Honestly, I would have said, well, I want to work within advertising or in the travel industry. That was kind of, the scope that I was working with. And actually that's what I ended up doing, working within those two industries. But in time, as I started, working and getting more and more responsibility as a people manager and a business manager, I started thinking more about, okay, what is it actually that I'm doing on this everyday basis, and what is management, and what is leadership? I didn't even know that it was a discipline in itself. So that awareness has come over time. So I would also say, being a young leader, don't worry if you don't have, your mission cast in stone. I think it's about doing your best. Do your best, and make the most out of even the most boring task. Make the most out of it. Do your best, and try to apply your talent in the best possible way within the context that you're in, because sometimes you won't really understand, what is it that I can get out of being in this workplace or in this company. That wasn't really what I foresaw that, would be the work that I, exactly. But when you move forward in time, for example, when I look back at my work life so far, I can see it all makes sense now. I can see, okay, I had to make that experience. I needed to have that business management experience. I needed to work in the private sector as a business manager for so many years in order to now be totally authentic and credible in the messages that I'm conveying now to business leaders.
Yeah, and have the perspective, I guess, as well.
And have the perspective. So it's a journey.
Very interesting. And to delve a little bit more into the leadership again, how would you say that you motivate your people at your company, and is there any specific skill set that you draw from that?
Well, I think actually I spend a lot of time explaining why we're doing what we're doing, because my experience is that that kind of, it helps employees, the team, to also be a bit more autonomous in the sense that they can make more decisions on an everyday basis, because they understand, okay, what is this a contribution to? What is the overall aim of this? So they can find their own way. So communicating a lot about why we're doing this, but also to be, it's called situation-based leadership, to understand that sometimes you need to be super directional. If the experience level is low, the motivation level is low, then you have to apply a certain leadership style. You need to be more directional. And if the experience level is high, for example, motivation is high, then it's more about coaching, facilitating. So you really need to adapt to the everyday situation.
I know you touched upon this a little bit before, but what advice would you give to young leaders who are aspiring to become leaders that incorporate sustainability and responsibility within their work?
So I think it's very much about understanding the business. So understand the business that you're in, the industry, but also the company culture. So understand the business, understand the organization, and get to understand what the sustainability agenda is all about. You need to understand these three elements, because in most cases, companies are going through a transition phase where it's a transition of mindset, where the whole organization needs to understand, okay, what does sustainability mean on an everyday basis, no matter where in the organization I'm placed. So for you as a responsible and sustainable leader, it's about understanding, okay, if this is the business we're in, with the challenges, the opportunities that we have, how could we create a close link to the sustainability efforts that we engage in, so they can actually reinforce each other? Mm-hmm. And how can we do it in a way that matches the culture that we have internally? Mm-hmm. So it's not just about understanding the sustainability agenda. Many people think that, okay, now I get it, 17 sustainable development goals, and these are the targets, but you actually need to understand the business as well.
Mm-hmm. So I guess incorporate the two or intertwine them in a way.
Yes, because I mean, there's so many ways that you can work with sustainability. Mm-hmm. The 17 development goals illustrate that very clearly. So it's very much a matter of understanding, okay, with the business that we're in, what would make most sense to us? Where do we have the biggest impact? It doesn't necessarily have to be within climate change. No. It could be within diversity or education. So it's very much about understanding, okay, what are our core skills? What is our core business? How are we contributing, or how are we not contributing? You know, where are we actually contributing negatively? Mm-hmm. And how could we turn that around so it could actually be something that we could turn into a business opportunity?
Yeah, because also sustainability is a very broad term. And I guess it could be, very challenging to know where to start and what battles to pick. Do you have any advice to how do you narrow that down and also feel, that you have your soul and your heart in the work you do?
Yeah. Well, in a business, it starts with business, mm-hmm. I would say. So it's about understanding, again, the value chain. What kind of activities do we have in our business? What kind of sustainability agendas do we touch upon throughout our work, both internally in our organization, the things that we buy, procurement, how we hire, how we invest, the pension schemes we offer for our employees, which sustainability issues are we touching on through our daily operations when we deliver our services or products to our customers. Then you will be able to narrow it a bit more down. Mm-hmm. And then it's a matter of, assessing, okay, which of these issues are most important for us as a business, but also which of these issues are most important for our key stakeholders. So what's important for our customers, what's important for our employees, for example. Mm-hmm. So that's a way of narrowing it a bit down.
Yeah. Lastly, is there a situation, as you being the CEO of the social business company, where you made a mistake or maybe, took the wrong decision? And as a leader, how did you recover from that? And what did you learn from that experience?
Oh gosh. I mean, I make mistakes all the time. And we all will. Mm-hmm. So I think it's not, the goal shouldn't be zero errors, but more to embrace and acknowledge the fact that we will make mistakes. So it's more a matter of how you deal with them. And so the way that I deal with them is, for example, I talk to the team. We talk about it and say, okay, what worked? What didn't work so well? What can we do better next time? How can we avoid a situation like this? Mm-hmm. And then forgive ourselves, be light about it. We make mistakes, so it's more a matter of learning from them. And we have manuals in my company. We document how we, our different work routines. So, for example, when we make mistakes, then we make sure to just amend our documentation so our checklist kind of reflects what we need to be more aware of next time.
Well, thank you so much for this talk. This was all for Leaders Live, and thank you to Tania Ellis for coming and sharing your knowledge within responsible leadership.
You're welcome. My pleasure.